Welcome back to another success story with Systeme.io. Today, we have the privilege and luxury to sit down with a motivational speaker, author, and trailblazer, Randrick Chance, normally called Chance. So, welcome, Navy veteran. Today in America, it is Veterans Day. So, happy Veterans Day. And thank you for joining us today to share your success story with Systeme.io.
Appreciate that, Harley. It's a wonderful opportunity to be here, and I watch these presentations. It's always good to hear other people's success story and have the privilege today to share my own. So, looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much, especially on a day like today in remembrance of everything that you've done. And specifically, could you kind of tell us how you went from the Navy to digital success here with Systeme.io?
Yes, interestingly, well, I did 7 years, 7 months in the U.S. Navy. It was an awesome run. There, I had a spiritual transformation, so that's kind of how I exited, wanting to do humanitarian work and travel a little bit more to places like Africa. And so with that, in about 2010 thereabouts, I kind of got this interest in online stuff. I saw people, making money online and so forth. So I tried doing like affiliate marketing, and I made $1,000 promoting somebody's product. And I'm like, wow, this thing works. So from that moment, really, I was kind of hitched, dabbled quite a bit in many things, of course, like most people, but that's kind of how I got my start with digital marketing, was simply seeing others doing it and having the interest. But then having made $1,000, I'm like, yeah, people can make money online.
Okay. So when did you retire or exit the Navy and then do the affiliate marketing? Was it congruent? Were you doing it while you were still in, or you'd already stepped out at this point?
Yeah, I had already stepped out. I was doing humanitarian work with a nonprofit in Alabama. And so while we are doing that, of course, sometimes, we worked on a stipend, as you might be familiar with. And so, you wanted to find ways to kind of supplement your income and so forth. So the online world kind of drew me in, right? Most people, you do that Google search and it trails you all over the place. So,
Oh, I'm doing
yeah.
some numbers now. You were in Alabama in 2010.
Yes, ma'am, I was. Uh-huh.
So was I. That's crazy. Look at that.
Really?
Small
Okay.
world.
It
Yeah.
is a small world indeed.
I was doing humanitarian work sorta in 2010 in Selma, Alabama. I was there
Wow.
from yep, 2009 to 2010 and then moved out of the area in 2011. So
Okay.
that's
Well, we
crazy.
moved right after you slightly. We moved in 2012. So yeah, military. Then we went into humanitarian work, and then we came into ministry. So that's why we left there. We had a church plant invited us to come and work with them in Texas in 2012, and so we just kind of left everything behind and started fresh over in Texas. So this is where we are, and we're probably going to stay here for a good hot minute.
Okay. And I like how we've already talked about the ordering of your steps, right? Like you may have a plan, but then the next right step may not be what we have planned, but it's making sure that we're good stewards of the time and the wisdom that we've been given. So, like you said, affiliate
Right.
marketing is how you started stepping foot into that. And you made $1,000 in 1 month. And so while you're doing ministry work, humanitarian work, you knew and you know that you've got to be investing, right? And
Cool.
again, reference to Ecclesiastes, making sure that we're doing those investments to 7 to 8 things because we don't know what trouble comes tomorrow.
Say that
So,
again.
right. And so, what made you, what was the catalyst to move from affiliate marketing, or perhaps did you stay in affiliate marketing for a time, or did you like, hey, I can teach this myself? Like, where was that transition from making money for yourself to I can share this with other people?
So yeah, I stayed with the affiliate stuff for a little bit. I'm promoting product after product. So I was using primarily blogs at that time, and I paid somebody to make me a WordPress site way back when. And so yeah, so that was mainly the thing. And then start blogging, doing it for ministry as well. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. So, but then I did a master's degree. When was that? About 2016, 15, around there. And so for my master's project, instead of doing a thesis, I chose to do a project. And interestingly, what I did was I chose to do how people are monetizing their skills online. And so I interviewed 110 people. And with that, I turned it in. And of course, I got an A. I graduated 4.0 GPA. But check this out. I'm like, what do I do with all this? I know this research is going to pretty much sit on a university. Their library, nobody's probably going to read it. So I'm like, you know what I did? I actually took all the interviews as raw as they were, and I just put it up online for sale. And I had
Wow.
someone from New Zealand buy it, and I'm like, whoa, okay. So I messed with the price. I had it at $95, then $27, then 400 or something bucks. And no matter what price point I put it at, people were just buying it. And this was just the raw files, just the interviews and the transcript of them, which is what I use for the research. And I'm like, wow. So it just started blowing up there, and then people started asking for coaching, and so that's kind of how I realized, like, oh yeah, this is how people monetize their skills using whatever they know. They don't have to have a degree on it, but if you have education, expertise, and experience, those three areas is what the focus were. And you can use the online platforms to be able to get your message out and make money in many ways, of course. But basically, what evolved from that was 7 steps. We call it the 7 step framework that we use to help people go from identifying where you are and taking it to market.
I love it. Okay, we're going to come back to those 7 steps because I definitely want to unpack those for our listeners. So, going back, you said, like, getting your master's degree 2015, 2016, interviewing people. What kind of equipment did you have? And how did it not hold you back in case you didn't have the fancy DSLR cameras then? Because we didn't even have digital
Yeah.
cameras at that point. What'd you use?
Yeah, I still keep it fairly simple even now. But then I just used my phone basically. I had the Rev.com app on there, and that would do the recording, and it goes email it straight to Rev, and they transcribe it right there. So we had the audio, but I think I used my phone to pretty much do the videos. So, and then those who didn't want to do a video, what they did is I had a questionnaire, a survey, and they just filled that out very detailed. But yeah, no fancy, nothing at all. Like it was super raw.
I love that. And I think, again, for our listeners, it doesn't have to be this high class production. You can
Mhm.
start with what you have. And if what's the best camera? The one in your hand. Well, what's the, best way to get it out there? Start even before you're ready. And so
Yeah,
interviewing those people, turning it into something even raw, already started you on this trajectory of wanting to educate. So really, you stepped into course creation right out of the gate without even knowing it. I love it. You kind of
without
like
knowing it.
stumbled into it.
True. Yeah.
Okay. So what were you using then that led to, I guess, uncovering Systeme.io? You said WordPress. Where were you selling this? Was it like on Teachable or some other kind of like program, maybe Gumroad? Like, how were you getting your product into the hands of, the person in New Zealand?
Yeah, straight on my website. I started out with WordPress. I did that for a few years, and then there was a plugin that went with it. I think it was called Optimize Press. And so I did Optimize Press for probably about 5 years. Like I was using different tools. And then, of course, the big guns came out. And so we tried ClickFunnels when it first came out, and then a more affordable one was Kartra. So we stayed with Kartra for quite a bit until I discovered Systeme.io. So that's how I
Okay.
went. Yeah, that was the sequence.
I love that. Again, use what you have, don't overcomplicate it. And then Systeme.io came on and it's really changed the game. So for you, right? So explain to us like all the things that it has replaced. You don't have to use names or whatnot, but like, has it not only replaced what you had, but optimized it to this level of success that, now we're sitting here and having a conversation about?
Yeah, well, one of the big guns, of course, we know that, sometimes you think you got it all in one. All in one always sound like a wonderful idea, but then you had to piece on this one, you had to plug in this one, that one, and each one that you put on there for like email marketing, that's another cost. People, it's not advertised as such, but you have to plug in all of those other pieces. And then the second one I use after the biggest one out there on the market, I don't know if we can say the names, but um, so that one really worked well as well because it did have email marketing integrated. But then, of course,
Hmm.
there are different levels you got to pay for. But for me, what happened, I got it with the grandfather stuff. But after a while, I couldn't make any more funnels because it tapped out, and just to get a few more was paying pretty much almost twice. And
Mm.
so I didn't want to, I tried not to upgrade for a while because I'm like, I need more funnels, I need more pages, but I don't need that many more to me warrant upgraded. So yeah, and that's again, I think I saw an ad on Facebook for Systeme.io, and I went on there, check it out, but it didn't even take me long. I mean, I think maybe within a day or 2 or 3 days, I was like, yeah, this is the solution. So this has everything built in at an affordable price. In fact, what we have as unlimited, I was paying for a smaller package over at the other platform.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we hear that very often with our list with our, guests so far is that you think it's an all-in-one, but then it kind of like backdoors fees and backdoor add-ons. And then you're really limited. But Systeme.io with their pricing structure has been phenomenal. So when you were transferring, because you said you had maxed out your funnels, did you do it yourself? Did you integrate and transfer everything over yourself, or did you use the service within Systeme.io and they transferred it for you?
Oh yeah, that was a winner for me actually for using the migration, because I'm like, that's a lot of pages. And what happened when I used the second platform out there, Kartra, when I used that, actually I paid someone to design the initial site and initial funnels for me, because I can always copy and so forth. But here now I do everything with System.io pretty much myself. And so that has been the biggest thing. But yeah, they transferred everything seamlessly, even redesigned some things. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't ask for all of that, but hey, I'll take it. So, but yeah, all of the transfer was very, very smooth, no problem there at all. They worked on schedule, and so I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah. All right, y'all. You got don't sleep on this. If you're
no,
interested, jump over. They'll migrate it for you if you buy one of their, tiered programs beyond the free. So,
yeah.
with that being said, how many funnels did you have and have you expanded that since you've jumped over to System.io?
Yes, probably I probably got maybe almost 100 funnels, because I do for myself, but I manage for, well, several other friends of mine too. So, you do things professionally, but then you have I'm in ministry as well as a pastor. So I manage my own church's website and another church that I have, and then some of my friends, I've invited them over to System.io. And what I would do is, now this is the cool thing, is just clone and then rebuild based on their brands, colors, and so forth. So it really makes it kind of simple to do that way. But yeah,
That's awesome. So when you say clone, and I know, I played around with their websites and stuff, have you found that there's like a global universal thing? Say for example, throughout your website, I believe you have like a tan color. Do you have to go into each individual page and change that tan to a blue for the person? Or have you found a way to do a universal big switch?
yes, Universal is there in System.io, and especially when you do like a blog, if you are creating the blog, but you can use it as a website. But with that, there everything just travels over, so that makes it easy, really and truly. What I love most about System.io, I really it's super fast, because that's what I do in my business primarily. You have the main website, but most new projects or whatever, I just create a new page for this new person specifically. If we have, for example, even with church, so again, I use it for business, but I use it for ministry. So if the church has an event coming up, I would just create a quick event page. And again, because I can clone different ones, it's just basically editing, the basics, new date, new stuff. So I use it primarily to create a lot of pages. So my stuff has a ton load of pages.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you're saying that you use it for both. And you're probably the first person who has used it not only for digital marketing, but actually like a service or a ministry kind of humanitarian approach with that. And so people who are perhaps looking at it for their own ministry or their storefront, like maybe getting their lashes done, an esthetician, there are
Yeah,
other ways that you can use Systeme.io that, let's just open the floodgates, service providers, brick and mortar buildings. So with that being said, like you said, you have multiple kind of accounts. Are you utilizing the sub accounts inside of it, or do you have different accounts that you're logging into?
I have different accounts, so I have several domain names. So I love the sub account feature too. By the way, we haven't tapped into it yet, but pretty much we have several domains, so personal and for others. So like my church, I put them on their own accounts that way, and I manage through my account their account, so I don't have to log into their things and so forth. And but yeah, the sub account feature again is just a game changer. And with the unlimited plan, I mean, if you want to, if somebody's having a side hustle or business, I mean, they can actually set up websites for people and not have to necessarily go outside and create another thing. Or if you don't want to log in their stuff, you just build it on your own. So that's really a plus. And not to stretch this one out, but I do think when you mentioned the church or nonprofits, I think that's a big opportunity for those who are providing like website services because most churches, period, especially in our area, San Antonio here, it's basically you can tell most of it is like a WordPress site or it's just a standalone, the 5 pages. But to build an automation to do all of these things that you have as a funnel, I'm telling you, many churches are not even there. So you can take a
Yeah.
visitor and put them on that journey. You can take a new baptized member, put them on a particular journey. Like, I mean, that to me is a gold mine waiting to be tapped into. We're not tapping into it ourselves because we deal on the business side, but I eventually, we probably train some people to be able to go after that market.
Yeah. I do stuff on the side as well. We tend to call people who are using that the websites and these funnels. I love that you said that, and it's a journey. We call people who are doing that digital missionaries, and so I want to thank you for your
Mm,
part in doing that. Helping people go through that journey because we're hearing more and more people who are homebound, can't get out. Maybe there's not a church near them that can fill that need. So I love that you're expounding upon that as well, and giving people other ideas, thinking outside the box with what you can do with Systeme.io
yeah,
and perhaps in that ministry realm as well, creating these journeys, helping them become entrepreneurs, kingdom builders. So thank you for sharing that.
no problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's dive into strategic secrets here a little bit. You talked about a seven framework, 7-part framework. So with your business side, because I could talk all day about the ministry, let's kind of like focus in about how that has perhaps changed your life as an entrepreneur, being able to, fan the flame of the ministry work, allowing you to have a peace of mind financially, mentally, emotionally, being like, okay, this is running well with the automations, right? Because that's what you talk about. It's visible and it's scalable. Uh, how did you take those raw files from your master's degree and turn it into what you're building today?
Yeah, so again, and it's basically building from that same masters as you mentioned, right? So it's all about helping people to monetize their skill online. And what we say skills are education, expertise, and experiences. So whatever you have, you can use. But for me and the people I normally deal with, is you attract mostly folks who are very well educated, folks who are in leadership in some sort. And my biggest niche and or my favorite niche as far as especially with payment is doctors because they definitely I know they don't have time to do a whole lot, so that's where you come in. So basically, so the 7 steps is basically divided into two. So first, everything is always the creation and then the marketing side. We focus primarily first a lot on the creation side because I'm more of a content creator and I love the creation side. But what we're discovering, even when you give them success, they create a book, they create a speaking thing, they create courses, then they're like, "Oh, I'm not selling." I'm like, "Well, yeah, you create the stuff to sell, but they're not necessarily focusing on the marketing." So that's when I was like, "Oh, let's make this simple. Let's start first. Let's get you created, and let's plug in the marketing piece." So basically again, so D you got to define, right? We it's all 7 Ds basically. So you want to define your own gifts, talents. What are they? Identify. Sometimes we got to help people to discover those skills too. So whether it's you use for those in ministry, yes, we might give them a ministry gift survey. Um, Others will use, Colby and different things along those lines. But we have a survey too that helps people figure out, what are your own things. Define the people that you want to reach, which is like, your market, your niche, figuring that out. And then now let's design a product for that person, a product, a program, or service, right? Any of one of those three things. So, and there's a course there so they can see what those may look like. Because today's market, everything is changing, right? Courses, sometimes you can do coaching, consulting, whatever it may be. It's the system that runs it all. So that's why I love this, because it's really not, you don't have to worry about making people do anything. It's you, whatever gifts, talents, expertise you have, you will use it, and this is the engine that runs it. Right? You don't got to worry about the tech stuff. That's what Systeme.io is really there for. Right? You can almost blindfold it. But what you want to do is, here's how you go about developing that program or product or service that you want to render to people. And then there we go. So yeah, so we discover your skills, your talents, we define your market, we design the product, and then we deploy it. That's where the marketing comes in. So once you deploy it, now you're doing those stuff, you're going to test it. But just like cars, every year they update, right? So after that, now we say, hey, you know what, we need to go in there and and dig around a little bit and see what we can do to kind of make it a little bit better or improve it, version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, that type of a thing. So after you got that feedback, now we want to come back to the drawing table, and then we're going to distinguish the product service even more, and then redeploy it in the marketplace. So 2 or 3 iterations, most people kind of get it locked in after 2 or 3 iterations. I know sometimes, hey, some straight out the gate, but it's better. So that's where, like me, yeah, just put it out there, see what happens. Even if you can't figure it out, just throw it out there, see what
Yeah.
happens. Because sometimes, and I find interestingly, the people who take the longest to do this are the ones who are truly highly educated and well credentialed, because everything got to be so perfect. Whereas the simple Joe and Jane, yeah, they just bam, let's just go. You know what I mean? So they're not so worried about the perfection. And I get it. People are thinking I'm well credentialed. I got to have everything crossed and like that. I was embarrassed when I published my first book. I really was, because I still find errors with it, and I'm like, oh man, and they say you have this credential behind your name, but those are all, there's some New York Times best-selling books that I've found that they even have errors in there. I've discovered errors in them, okay, and they're New York Times best-selling books. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. So much to unpack. Thank you so much. One, I love alliteration. Love it because I already remember the D's, right? From, discover, define, deploy. Love the deploy. I love the multiple iterations of deploying and all the way to the end where fail, but fail faster, keep failing until you finally hit that success, right? And so
yeah.
don't hold yourself back in that functional freeze or over analysis, analysis paralysis. Did did you know you were talking to me today? Because I felt like you were just
Oh,
talking to me. So I'm sure there's someone else on the other side listening saying, hey, that's me. That's me. And I think I need that simple, de-alliteration framework to help me get started. And going all the way back to the beginning where it's what you have to offer. It's not what your neighbor has to offer. It's not your
mm,
coworker across. It's not the content creator you're following. It's what you inside you internally. And a lot of people are saying, I don't have that education, right? I don't have that master's degree, but you have experience. My husband works in manufacturing, and he says all the time that it's the gentleman who's been working on that machine for 25 years with no college degree who understands it better than anyone else coming out with an
that's right.
engineering degree.
That's
And
correct.
those people, my heart goes out to them. They have so much that they could offer if they were willing to sit in front of a camera or not, which is where I'm going to go next. You have been building this, right, inside of Systeme.io. Do you also coach your clients to using Systeme.io? And what if they're like a lot of these people that I see with their experience? They don't want to sit in front of a camera. So they've discovered their skills, they
Hmm.
figured out what they want to create, and now it's time to create and market. Like, how do you coach people through people who are willing to be in front of the camera, people who are not willing to be in front of the camera? Like, I want to know all the things.
Yeah. So yeah, and generally we do it, within 100 days, right? Especially for the creation side, because beyond that, so what I know, people can coach for a very long time. For us, 100 days is the maximum. If you're not gonna get it by 100 days, like what I mean, you're probably gonna be dragging your feet or whatever the case may be. So I mean, if you want to give people money, that's fine. But we find when we put it to that, like that's the cap, like people take action a little bit more, right? So there are people, yeah, who coaching can be very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can plug in your calendar. Again, for the tech part, I don't really put too much emphasis on the tech part because, again, if you just get Systeme.io, it will be there. And what happened is I can just clone what we got and give it to you, right? So that's another thing too. And they have a marketplace where you can buy different type of funnels that you may need. So, and that's another thing. We bought a ton load of templates from several people in the community as well. So if you're a coach, here's a template for that. Don't sweat it. If you want to customize, we can do that as well. But the point is, we make sure that they're not so worried about the tech. So we always downplay the tech to the point of, because if you got Systeme.io, you got the vehicle already. What people need is, let's get your thing going for them. So yeah, so basically, if you can do Google Meets, you can, that's all some people may need if you're doing the coaching. So you plug that up with your calendar, and drive ads to a page where you invite people to try your thing or give them your freebie, and then here we go, book an appointment. Calendar is plugged in, you get the email reminders automated. And again, all of those things can be set up for people, and so basically they don't really have to worry about the tech part at all. So now it's like hopping a phone call, right? You don't have to be doing videos every day. If you have money, you run ads. That's the best and simplest shortcut. You don't have to be churning out a ton load of video. But even with AI now, is this a new thing we also working with, is clone yourself, and there we go. So we have one physician that's doing very well with that as well, because yeah, super busy. So it's like, okay, clone your voice, clone your personality, and so you have an AI of yourself. And so now every day somebody's just churning out those videos for her, and she don't have to now sit down and record all those videos. So that's, I would recommend, one of the simplest ways for those who are coaching. Then with the courses, if you're a course creator, then again the heavy lifting is on the front end, so to speak, right? We help you plan out your template, your outline rather, and so forth. And once you record those lessons, then it's only when you get the feedback you do the upgrade, right? And some of them you might even wait 6 months to even a year, depending on if it's good upfront. You might need minimal, but always want to take the feedback from people. So that's, hopefully, to many people, that's not a lot of work, right? Because if you make it once, you're not editing every single moment. You just put in the work up front and you get it done. So like what you are doing here could also be, I've seen people do that as well, where just have a ton load of interviews and that's what they actually sell you. I mean, like I said, my first thing wasn't it that? I mean, my research was simply having people the interviews, right? So I think that's one of the simple ways that people can get to doing it. In terms of client acquisition, yeah, YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel, you can do that. Post regular content. Consistency is the name online. But the biggest
Yeah.
shortcut, if you don't have time for that, the biggest shortcut though is simply running ads. You run
Okay.
ads, you can build it up faster than, of course, organic is always best, but hey, ads, those who have the most money to spend on ads pretty much going to win out at the end of the day in general.
Mm. All right. So, all right, everyone listening, if you got the money, go ahead and do the ads. And if you have the time and can figure it out, do the AI and then organic leading. That's all the lead acquisition and getting people in there. And so now, that's the marketing, trying to get people to the vehicle. How do you operate within the vehicle? You've talked about cloning. You talked about creating courses. So you recommend to your clients using the course platform inside of Systeme.io? And what about community? Does anyone run their community on Systeme.io?
We don't have a lot of folks with that yet because most of them, like you said, their timeline and putting people to operate their community. So most folks are doing the coastal right now, but yes, community is also there where like school, Facebook groups, and replace all of those type of things. So you don't have to be again in several places because some people again they have their stuff on Facebook and they're doing Facebook group and they're doing school and no again one platform for everything makes it manageable, makes it much easier to be able to do. So that's something we're trying to get more people exposed to and realize that. But for right now, most of the people we do is just trying to simply get their course or coaching program going. But it's trying to get their people over now from those groups into the community.
Okay. I love that. Again, simplifying it because you're like, no, 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 let's just like streamline everyone and kind of get them there. I understand that trying to pull people in from all these different, kind of groups, like you said, Facebook, school's definitely killing it right now. So if someone wanted to work with you, so let's talk about how you take your clients through their journey and the strategic secrets. Like, is it a course? Is it coaching? Is it an ebook PDF? Like, how would if I purchase, your program, your courses, how would you walk me through it right now?
So what we do is on the website you have three things basically. So there's some folks who just want to publish or create something. So when it's a publish, either they want to publish a book, a course that they can use to maybe spread that expertise or to show themselves as an expert. I love the book piece. We got like now 12 different ways to write a book and publish a book. So because that gives some who feel they need those credentials, when you have that speaking thing, you're a published author, we can run it up the algorithms to be able to get a number one bestseller on Amazon quickly. So with that, they're like, okay, I got it. But some people just want that, like, okay, I have my own stuff. Like I said, physicians, they have their own patient list, right? So they're able to now sell those products directly to their list. For others, we are able to now say, okay, do you want to develop your full thing online? If you want to develop a full thing online, here's what we do. So yeah, we come in, we have a schedule call, get clarity on exactly what it is you're trying to do, and then with that, now we take you through those 5 steps and 5 step, I mean 7 steps divided in 2 sections, right? Creation, marketing. So we say, hey, Holly, okay, let's say Holly, you want to do coaching or you want to do a course, which you will coach from. And I tell people honestly, they all flow together. Like if you publish a book, create a course that goes with it, and then you have coaching program that you can coach, but it's the same material. So like monetize a skill, for example, the book is here, give you the 7 step framework and it gives you examples. Then people want to buy the course. So okay, they have the course, they can go through it on their own. Those are the one who want to do it themselves. And now, hey, we will bring coaching on that, but I'm coaching you on the very same system there. We just saying no more than 100 days. We want to coach you on that. And if you take the action, you will have your, whether it's you want to do coaching, consulting, book publishing, course, whatever, this should be done in that time frame. And so that's what we just walk you through. Step one, here's what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and discover your superpowers. Let's go ahead and define your market. Now let's design the thing for them and let's deploy it to the market. So with that right there, you pretty much can have your six-figure business just with that. The other pieces are simply, tweaking it, making it better, and just kind of putting it back out there. So you don't really even need the full 7 steps. The first 4 steps gets you to create the business. But we always want you to do. You go out there, people improve even on houses. You're not the same house, but we all fix up our house sometime. You might buy a nice house, but hey, you know what? I can make this a little better. So I always recommend, even if it's good, tweak it some point based on feedback. So I'm not gonna go in and tweak it if everybody is good, we good. Let's move on to the next thing. So I hope
I
that
love
helped.
it.
You can ask a little more clarifying, but I hope that helped. But
Yeah.
that's basically it. Most of it is simply let's come in and let's go ahead and work through those 7 step framework. That's basically
Okay.
it in a nutshell.
So I have two questions. One, you said 12 ways to publish. And so you have 12 different ways for someone to publish, like self-publish a book now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's enough, y'all. Go book Chance right now if you want to get a book out. And then second, was the other question? Give me a second.
No problem. Yeah, with all the
Okay, I
technology
remember.
tools, it makes it even easier now. It used to be, but it was easy before to me. Actually, it took me. I published for myself 13 books. I've published. First
And you have,
three
uh,
went nowhere. It was just simply passion projects. But after that, the next eight consecutive, we got it nailed down where we can produce it even faster, but also drive it to number one bestseller on Amazon because we figure out how the algorithm works.
oh, I love that. Yeah, I have a friend that just did the Amazon #1 bestseller for a self-published book. So, did all your books have ISBNs as well? Like they're like all the way through
Yeah.
for
I have both my own and also, after a while you start publishing so many, it's like, okay, let's just use the free ones that they're giving. But, in the beginning, of course, everything was, we purchase our own ISBNs and so forth. And here's a cool thing. When we help people with this, we do not put our name on these things, we because we want people to have their own rights to absolute everything. So we're not saying, okay, like we are the middleman or we are the publisher or whatever. No, if you
Mhm.
have a business, if you don't have a business, let's make a business out of it. But we put their name, their brand, their everything on their store as well. Not okay, you purchasing it through Amazon, but then they're giving me the royalty to give you the royalty. I don't want to play that game myself personally. So yeah, so we make sure they have their own things set up. Everything is going to be set up so it goes through them.
Exclusive rights. They have exclusive rights to all their copyrighted personal property, intellectual property. You just help them. You're the engine that keeps them moving and get it to publication, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
All right. Now, I remember my second question. It was when you said people get on a clarity call with you. So this is consulting. Strategic secrets, you're consulting, you're helping, you're doing a little hand holding, a little letting go. You're teaching them to fish so that they can go do it themselves. This isn't just a course and, self-paced where they're trying to figure it out by themselves.
Correct, correct. There are some of those, who are that type, right? They want to do things themselves, and that's what I'm saying. You can get the course and just plow through it and apply it if you want. But we find where we mix them both. You have the course because everybody who consults or have us do it with them, they have the course. They have access to the material. So we don't be like, well, this no. We give you access to everything. So, but yeah, but that is also the most lucrative part as well. But also you get the results because how many of us have bought course? In fact, I want to create a course. I had it written down so long and I never put it out there yet. But I want to put, how not to take an online course because so many people buy courses and we don't use them. I myself, I mean, I have a litany of courses, right? And sometimes it was just an interest or just I just needed this one thing really. I didn't need the whole entire stuff because a lot of it is, you kind of pick it up along the way. But I mean, I got a ton load of courses. I mean, I think I spent more on courses than my PhD, So yeah, because I learned actually more from those things. And if I can do it all over again, hint, hint to some people, I would change the route. I would recommend a lot of people do the traditional schooling. You can learn much more with available courses and programs and coaching from people than you would waste a lot of time sitting down in a college classroom. Not denying that, okay, I got it myself, but courses, that's why people buying them. That's why it's over 300 and something, I think over 365 plus $1 billion, you know. So if that is the case, then that means the demand is there. So why not put yours
Yeah.
out there?
Yeah. Again, mom of five and with five different personalities, I have actually recommended to my children and friends' kids, like, if you kind of know what you want to do, there's no point for some of you to go to college and get a degree and then still not know what you want to do. If you already know, go ahead, get a course, get really creative and start now. I have a 12-year-old daughter and we're going to start her own online business
Ooh,
with
amen.
Systeme.io.
That's what I'm talking about. That's amazing. Amen. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Because there's so much that she could start now and learn now that I wish I had learned at her age. So by the time she
Right.
graduates high school, she can go exactly wherever she wants to go, learn whatever skills she feels like she's lacking, but use whatever creative business she's already created to to not limit herself. She doesn't have to. I had to worry about, oh, how am I going to pay tuition? How am I going to pay for my books? How am I going to pay for my car insurance?
Hmm.
But so there is a gift that entrepreneurship gives you now.
Yes.
And I love that Systeme.io makes it attainable. Like that barrier to entry is just so is not so high that, my 12-year-old could enter today with her own money that she's gotten for
Right.
Christmas, right? And can
Yeah.
start. We've already started talking about a business plan. So,
I love it.
what is the
I love it.
gift? What is the gift that entrepreneurship has given you? Like, is there any perhaps revenue goal that you hit that you never thought was attainable, or a freedom within your own family and ministry that you wouldn't have been able to do if it wasn't for what you've been able to build online?
Yeah, and I like that question because it taps into the why of things. So throughout my life, I mean, I've been in the military, missionary, ministry. So we could always generally live off of our income, whatever that is, from a job. Like, we've never really had to say struggle deeply, per se. So why then more funds? Well, I tell people several things. Your salary sometimes just pay you enough to live, to survive, take care of yourself, your family. But to make deep impact, bigger impact, you need money. And that's a tough thing. So some people, especially in some of us in the faith-based community, right? You know how that goes. But I've always tell people, listen, providing services to people, even as a nonprofit, is free to the recipient, but the one sending and delivering that thing, it costs. There's a cost to everything, right? You don't go overseas, even if you want to go build houses in a third world country, and Delta Airlines is like, oh, we appreciate the work you're doing. Here are some free flights. No, you're going to pay some money. Okay. So everything costs. So that's my why. My why is figuring out other ways to make money allows me to make a bigger difference and impact more people's life beyond my own salary. My salary, I say, is taking care of my household, and the extra salary, the extra income from these things allow me now to, yes, in my case, plant churches, do community outreach, help young people, start leadership programs and stuff like that. That's what gives me that joy, that peace of mind. And so, when we're a nonprofit, I remember the first time I saw actually a written $10,000 check, and I'm like, be so happy to receive all these donations. I get it, but it was the first time actually holding even just a $10,000 check, and I'm like, wow, I would want to write a $10,000 check myself one day. Imagine, because this person who wrote this 10,000 had a whole lot more probably. So those type of things give me a lot of motivation along the way. And so again, so with online, again, I've made my first dollar on there. I made the first $1,000, first $10,000, first $100,000. So when you look at all of that, you say the internet allows you to, it's really unlimited. It's just based on what you're trying to do, what but I want to encourage people. Entrepreneurship is one of the fastest ways to be able to make the kind of impact you really dream of. Secondarily, there are a lot of people in our faith-based community as well. A lot of people deal with financial challenges, and but most of the discussions around that is always becoming debt free. But I tell people the fastest way to become debt free, you got to cut back. I'm not here to to say you shouldn't do what Dave Ramsey teaches per se. We believe in that. Our church runs it. I was a Ramseyite for a long time, but my thing is that I tell people the fastest way out of debt is making more money. It's the fastest way. You got a $20,000 bill, for example, and you can spend forever paying it off, right? But even if you take, but what if you can make an extra $1,000 in 20 months? Now that is gone versus taking 10 years plus to be able to pay it off. So thinking about it, what more can you do? Invest in. A lot of people, I can't invest anymore. Oh, good. Have an online business where you can now make money, and now you can fund whatever your retirement, whatever you want to do. So that's my why. And then I have two kids. We're not there as you are. We're hoping that we can bring at least two more in, but that's really my big why. So I am all for making as much money as is possible, um, so that I can continue doing the work that I can do. The impact we've made, especially in other countries and stuff like that. I tell you, Harley, I could not have made that impact on my salary. Okay, I could not. So therefore, I have to figure it out. And entrepreneurship is the best route. It's even better sometimes than because even donation. There's some people, okay, I'm gonna do it to the nonprofit. Yeah, I got you. But the first thing I've observed when people are struck financially, the first thing they stop doing is giving or reduce their giving. So I don't think a nonprofit should only depend upon donations. I think even nonprofits should be entrepreneurial. Everybody may not be an entrepreneur, but everybody should be entrepreneurial.
Yes, yes. I love that you mentioned that because that's something that I've actually been personally researching too, nonprofit versus LLC and S corps. And so, do you discuss any of that in your strategic secrets? Perhaps because you do work with ministry workers, or have you also wrestled with that yourself, like nonprofit versus LLC, where it has its place, and how they can run together or congruently, or or not at all.
Yeah, it was a wrestle in the beginning, only because most people were talking about it from a negative perspective until I read
Hmm.
myself. Okay, because I'm like, you go to the IRS, even the IRS actually allows a nonprofit can do business. You have unrelated business stuff. So I'm like, okay, just do that. But if the business is related to your nonprofit work, is tax deductible the same. It's only if it's unrelated. So, for example, if you are whatever, let's say you have a ministry, whatever that ministry is, and you publish your books under your ministry, well, that is to support your ministry. So therefore, that is tax deductible, right? It's free as well. It's not like you got to pay on that. Now, if you are saying now, I'm a ministry, I'm providing, let's say you taking care of the homeless, but then I'm doing something here where I'm doing maybe marketing. Well, that's unrelated to that. So you pay, but here's the thing: you pay taxes only on that portion, right? And I'm not a tax expert, but those are the things I read myself and realized that yeah, it's not a problem. But I realize as well, in most cases, depending on who it is, if you have a big organization, of course, they get a lot of donation. But what I found is by doing business, you make actually more than if you just rely upon donations, right? And it actually comes a little bit faster. So
Hmm.
do them both is what I would say. Do them both. Why not? Do them both. So whether you are doing it in your nonprofit or you create a supplementary, I have both because there are some things where you want to just keep them totally separate. So we do nonprofit, but we also have LLC that we do most of the business through.
Yes, and I'm glad that that's why I asked that, in case we do attract those types of people who are like, "Well, I'm ministry, how's this work?" And so I would, recommend anyone listening, go ask, Chance some of these questions, because he's wrestled through it,
Yeah.
he's went through it. That's that experience, that expertise where you've walked through it. So, if anyone's listening right now, this is how, we
Hmm.
land the plane, we're deploying, right?
Yeah.
If they're sitting on the edge of their seat, ministry worker, business, and they're hesitant to step in. Perhaps they have to have it all in order, or they don't think they have a gift. They haven't discovered it yet. What would you say to them to take that first step into that River Jordan?
Well, I would reassure them you do have something to offer. So it's not only about credentials, and credentials could be anything, right? So your education, some people have degrees, certifications, whatever. That's good. But again, you are an expert at something. As you mentioned, your husband, right? When he talks about the people that person running that system for that many years, they are an expert in it and your experiences. So, for example, let's take even something that we may think is dramatic. Somebody went through divorce. Well, you can become a divorce coach. You can write a book about divorce. You are one of the best person actually to be able to help somebody through. So that's what we mean by experience, right? And that's what you see a lot of the products online, especially in health too. Some people have lost weight. Well, you don't need to have a course on, a degree in nutrition or something. You know how to cook, then you create a cookbook or you create a course videos, whatever it may be. So experience is actually one of the better ways because we all have experiences when we don't even feel like, oh, because the trap for some people, only those who are, up on the high level of education where they're making probably six figures already. But most people feel the academics, Well, I'm not even being paid this much in my job. Who's going to pay me for that? So that's why I think that the skills, expertise rather, and the experiences even trump that, because it's more conceivable to some people that, oh yeah, yeah, if I've gone through, guys who are buff, hey, you teach people how to gain muscle. You know what I'm saying? I used to, in the military, I used to be a skinny guy, and I took a course, actually, yeah, even back then, without even knowing it. I took a course from a guy named Anthony Ellis. He was a scrawny guy, and he stacked on in 12 weeks a lot of weight. I took his stuff, and guess what? It worked for me, right? I entered the competition back then. I slimmed back down, but back then, but I did it in 12 weeks as well, and I actually was featured in magazine and won a prize. But it was somebody's stuff, so I wasn't figuring out whether or not he's educated in this or that. He had the experience and the proof by his pictures, and I'm like, I can relate to that. So therefore, I took his course and was able to get results. So there you go. So you have it. Do not limit what you have. Matter of fact, do not despise, is what the good book says, the days of small beginning. Start where you are with what you have, and you might be surprised how you can actually change, transform, impact somebody's life.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And right at the end there, you're also a motivational speaker as well. Are you available for hire?
Yes, I am. If my calendar allows me, yes, indeed. We've presented on university campuses, nonprofits, churches, and those type of things. But basically, I talk about the same thing here. And one of the things I like to do indeed is inspire the younger generation. I love what you are doing as well when you talk about, your 12-year-old. We just got approved for a grant to be able to help kids with financial literacy and
Yes.
AI. So
Ooh.
we started 3 years ago, just doing it out of interest as well. I'm like, listen, man, we sometimes it's hard to change the older folk. Let's change the younger generation. And and kids love it, man. They come to these camps and it's like bam. So we got funded recently for a grant, so now we're gonna apply for some more grants so we can impact more lives.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna have you back and talk about that, man. Oh, this is so exciting. I'm glad that, we were able to expound upon what you've been able to do with System.io. Is there any big success story with System.io you'd love to share to kind of like give people inspiration of like, if I could do it, you can do it? Is there, you said six figures, years. Is there anything that you've hit or a milestone within System.io that you'd like to share?
Sure. And while we don't want to brag, so I don't want to come off of that way, because in our faith, how people are sometimes. But nonetheless, let me give you an example. One thing you got to do is here. Everything is here. It doesn't always have to be hard. Simplicity is truly the key. And I would recommend, if you struggle with the mindset, to read books by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. 10x is better than 2x. I remember after reading that book, immediately I sat down with a pen and a paper and said, listen, how can I double my annual salary for my job, my annual salary, with one simple play, rather than having to wait a whole year? That's it. Just ask. There we go. Thought came to mind, journal it down, and I got on Systeme.io, designed that page. There we go. Made a proposal on Canva, plug it in there, had a video, sent it out. Send it out to actually people in my own personal contacts. So no marketing necessarily, not all of that. Just to people that I already know. And so they watched the video. There we go. And the page was Systeme.io, hosted on Systeme.io too. You don't need to have, Vimeo and all the other ones. You can if you want to, but I'm saying you can also host your videos there in Systeme.io. So there we go. Bam. One person responded. It didn't even take a day. They responded and said, let's do this. Let's do this. So the deal was closed right there as well. So, well, hey, right there, go click on that button right there. And so yeah, and so we were able to close there a massive deal that indeed doubled my annual salary, which,
Wow.
yeah. So that's one
So
example. You had the platform, the tool wasn't the thing, you see what I'm saying? So we didn't have to stress or worry about that. So that's what I'm saying. You have an idea, create that quick page, put a video on there, send it out, and see what happens. Systeme.io handle
So
all of that stuff behind the scene.
so that was a business proposal that you created.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Look at you.
Mm,
I love it.
yeah.
It was a love it, love it, love it. Y'all, my brain is exploding. This was phenomenal. So, if someone wants to connect with Chance with strategic secrets, how can they connect with you right now, or find more information about what you're doing, or dive into what you've already created? How can they find you?
Strategicsecrets.com. Go to strategicsecrets.com. Up in right hand there, there's a book appointment. So strategicsecrets.com/book appointment if you wish. But if you just go on the website, you will see in the upper right hand there where you can book an appointment. And and let's have a free. We give you a free 30-minute chat and figure it out. If it's not for you, that's fine. We don't force anybody or whatever, And if not, hey, you want to read a book, we point you that way. You say, hey, this course might be sufficient for you. And if you want to work with us, here's what we do. And remember, you don't got to do it forever. We believe that you can have results in 100 days. And so, yeah, that's our stuff. You ain't got to do forever either. So it's like, okay, I can probably take 3 months.
I love it. Very simple, straight to the point. Go book an appointment. We'll figure it out if you're interested. All right. That was amazing. Happy Veterans Day. I know I'm date setting this if you're listening to this, November 11th, 2025. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. And happy Veterans Day to other veterans as well. We appreciate you and your service. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate
Our.
it. Systeme.io. Get it. Get it.
All right. Thank you for listening to another success story with Systeme.io. And until next time, keep creating.